Let me ask you one question. Are you part of the American middle class, living paycheck to paycheck, struggling to make ends meet? Have you ever wondered if you might be slipping into poverty without realizing it? If so, you're not alone. In fact, there are 15 warning signs of middle class poverty that you need to know about, and they're more common than you might think. But be warned, once you see these signs, you may start to feel a sense of unease and anxiety about your own financial situation. So buckle up and get ready to learn the shocking truth about what it means to be middle class in America today. You see, as the income gap widens, it has become increasingly difficult for the middle class to maintain their economic status. In the United States, poverty is not just a problem for the underprivileged or low-income families. It has become a pressing issue for the middle class too. The American middle class, which was once considered the backbone of the nation, is facing a financial crisis, with many struggling to make ends meet. Today, we have 15 main indicators that American middle class poverty is becoming a reality. Warning sign 1. Debt. The American middle class is known for its prosperity, success, and stability. However, behind this facade of wealth, a lurking threat of poverty and debt is becoming increasingly common. Debt is a warning sign of middle class poverty. It's a slippery slope that can lead to bankruptcy, foreclosure, and the loss of everything you've worked so hard to achieve. But it's not too late to turn things around. This could be your story. This could be your family. Debt is a warning sign, and it's time to take action. It's time to hold your finances and break free from the shackles of debt. Warning sign 2. Lack of savings. We all know the importance of saving money, but did you know that not having enough savings can be a warning sign of middle class poverty? Many American families are just one unexpected expense away from financial disaster. A car repair, a medical emergency, or a job loss can all lead to financial crisis. And without enough savings to fall back on, many families are forced to make tough choices. They may have to skip meals, sell their possessions, or even become homeless. Lack of savings is a warning sign of American middle class poverty, and it's a problem that's only getting worse. The middle class is shrinking, and more families are struggling to make ends meet. But it's not all doom and gloom. By learning to save money and make smart financial choices, families can take control of their finances and avoid the trap of poverty. Warning sign 3. Living paycheck to paycheck. Do you find yourself counting down the days until your next paycheck? If so, you're not alone. Living paycheck to paycheck has become a way of life for millions of Americans. It's a sign of the growing wealth gap and the shrinking middle class. But what you may not realize is that living paycheck to paycheck is not just a financial struggle. It's a warning sign of a much deeper problem: middle class poverty. These are people who are working hard, doing everything right, but are still barely getting by. They are one emergency away from disaster, one missed paycheck away from homelessness. Living paycheck to paycheck is a vicious cycle that can trap you in a cycle of debt, stress, and anxiety. So it's time to break free and control your financial future. Warning sign 4. No retirement plan. Imagine working hard your entire life only to find yourself struggling to make ends meet in your golden years. Retirement planning is essential for anybody who wants to maintain a basic standard of living in their latter years. But what happens when you have no retirement plan? According to recent studies, 1 in 3 Americans has no retirement savings at all. This lack of preparation can cause immense anxiety and stress, not to mention put you in a dire financial situation. Without a retirement plan, you may find yourself working well into your golden years, or worse, struggling to pay basic bills like housing and medical expenses. So it's a stark reminder that the middle class is at risk of falling into poverty without proper planning. Warning sign 5. No health insurance. The 5th warning sign is not having health insurance. You see, medical bills can be very expensive, and without insurance, you'll be responsible for the full cost of any medical treatment you need. This can quickly lead to financial ruin, especially if you have a chronic illness or need ongoing medical care, so you better get yourself one. Warning sign 6. No emergency fund. Do you have an emergency fund? If not, you may be closer to poverty than you think. Having no emergency fund is a dangerous game. It's like walking a tightrope without a safety net. And unfortunately, many middle-class Americans are doing just that. In fact, a recent survey found that 69% of Americans have less than $1,000 in savings. What happens when this emergency hits? The stress and anxiety can be overwhelming. You may have to take on debt, borrow money from friends or family, or sell your possessions just to get by. And in the end, you're left with less money and even less security. You don't want that, right? Warning sign 7. High cost of living. It's one of the most obvious reasons. The 7th warning sign is the high cost of living. The cost of living varies from state to state, but in many areas, it's becoming increasingly difficult for middle-class families to afford basic necessities like housing, food, and healthcare. Warning sign 8. Stagnant wages. You may think you're doing okay financially, but the reality is that your paycheck hasn't kept up with inflation. This means that you're effectively earning less money each year, making it harder to save for the future and pay off debt. It's not just your wallet that feels the pinch. Stagnant wages also lead to increased stress and anxiety as you struggle to make ends meet. The constant worry about how to pay bills and put food on the table takes a toll on your mental health. The American dream used to be about working hard and achieving a comfortable middle-class lifestyle, but with stagnant wages, that dream is slipping away for many. Warning sign 9. Job insecurity. When people are hit with job insecurity, they are suddenly faced with the possibility of losing their income and not being able to make ends meet. The anxiety and stress that comes with job insecurity can be overwhelming, leading to serious health problems and financial insecurity. This can really break your life. Warning sign 10. Poor credit score. Think about it. Your credit score is a reflection of your financial responsibility. It tells lenders whether or not you're a risk when it comes to borrowing money. And if you have a low credit score, it could mean that you have trouble paying your bills on time or managing your debt. These are both warning signs of financial instability, so make sure that you are safe. Warning sign 11. Student loan debt. The truth is, the cost of higher education has been skyrocketing in recent years, leaving millions of middle-class Americans with no choice but to take out student loans to pay for their education, and the consequences of that debt can be devastating. Many people who graduate with significant student loan debt are forced to delay major life milestones like getting married, buying a home, or starting a family. And for those who can't keep up with their payments, the consequences can be even more severe, like damaged credit, wage garnishment, and even bankruptcy. Warning 12. Increased stress and anxiety. Financial stress and anxiety can have a significant impact on your overall health and well-being. If you're constantly stressed about money, it's a clear indication that your financial situation is not healthy. Warning 13. Increased reliance on loans. Loans can be helpful in certain situations. However, increased reliance on loans can be a warning sign of financial instability. If you find yourself turning to loans more often than not, it may be time to reassess your financial situation. Warning 14. Reduced quality of life. Ever felt like life has lost its color and vibrancy? Do you find yourself constantly worried about bills and finances? If so, you might be experiencing the warning signs of American middle-class poverty. Reduced quality of life is a major red flag when it comes to poverty, and it's a trend that's been on the rise in America for decades. From stagnant wages and rising living costs to the ever-widening wealth gap, the middle class is finding it harder and harder to make ends meet, so you better look out for it. Finally, there's warning 15. Increased credit card debt. As we said before, the middle class in America is under siege. Wages have stagnated while the cost of living continues to rise. As a result, many families are turning to credit cards to make ends meet. But this is a dangerous game. High interest rates and fees can quickly spiral out of control, leading to a never-ending cycle of debt. And it's not just individuals who are suffering. The overall economy is also feeling the effects of middle-class poverty. When people can't afford to spend, businesses suffer. And when businesses suffer, jobs are lost. In fact, it's all linked together. As you've just learned, the signs of American middle-class poverty are all around us. From high debt levels to a lack of savings and increasing economic insecurity, it's clear that many families are struggling to make ends meet. So what can we do about it? Why don't we have an entire episode exclusively for that? Well, then you guys better stay tuned for it. Anyways, do drop your views in the comment section below, and we'll meet you guys in another episode.